Hey guys, again, my name is Lisa Boylan, and I am with Ridgeview Institute in Monroe. And mental health is a big problem, just across the board. So, you know, when I'm looking around, I'm looking at a room like this. We're talking about, we might have about 50 people in here. Okay, you're talking about 1 in 4 in this room right now is struggling with either suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety, substance misuse because of lack of coping mechanisms. One of the things that I want people to recognize when they think about Ridgeview is I don't want them to think about us as being the crazy hospital in the corner. I want them to think about us as being a resource for the community. And one of the things, you know, that's going to help us better have a better impression of what inpatient mental health looks like is being able to have education. So I love the fact that I get to go out and I get to meet people like you guys, but also to meet people like Annie here, who just has a heart and passion when it comes to being able to provide resources, education, and training. So I'm going to let her talk a little bit about what QPR is and what we can be able to offer you and the communities that you're working in to be able to help kind of destigmatize mental health a little bit.
Hi everybody. I'm a nurse by trade, but I do labor and delivery as a nurse, so that has nothing to do with anything that we're here about today. But I'll tell you a little bit about my story and how I got into this. So about 2.5 years ago, I used to go to a church called 12 Stone when we lived in Gwinnett County. I now live in Monroe, out where Ridgeview is, which is Walton County. But I felt like leaving church one day that God dropped a bomb in my lap. And he said, one day you're going to do prison ministry. And I said, what? Who, what, when, where, how? And I reached out to my local church because I thought if it's already going on, I don't need to reinvent the wheel. I can just join the process. And I knew Russell Gray from a long time ago when he was a precious soul during a time we almost lost my brother because he was in jail and ended up having to have brain surgery afterwards because stuff physically was going on as well as the things that were getting him into trouble. So I knew Russell, and he was involved in men's ministry, but there was no women's ministry. I tried other avenues. I called jails and prisons myself, but I kept hitting closed doors. And so I was patient during that time. I felt like that was God. What was God really teaching me was it's still my idea, Annie, and it's still going to happen one day. And I would get a little breadcrumb on the trail like once a month. I would come to these meetings. I would have a conversation. I would hear something at church or in a devotional or in a song that would kind of put the bug in my ear again that, yes, that's still my idea and it's going to happen. Well, we moved to Monroe about 1.5 years ago, and I felt like he said it's going to happen here. There's a smaller community jail there. I happened to meet the mayor of Monroe about 1 year ago at a Super Bowl party. God told me to ask him about jail ministry. I said, that's kind of random at a Super Bowl party, but okay. So I asked him about it, if he knew if anything was going on, if he thought there was a need. He said, well, why don't I just take you this week to meet the head jailer? And I said, okay, I guess he'll know. So he took me himself to meet the head jailer, met him, and now I've been doing jail ministry there every Sunday for about 6 months. So I thought, I'm doing what God wanted me to do. I'm done. Right? But we're never done. When he wants us to do stuff, he's like, oh, she can do that. Well, maybe she can do more, right? So, in meeting the head jailer, he told me about his wife who has a thing out in Walton County called Walton Wellness. She does a lot of things that perked my interest because I'm a nurse. They promote health and wellness in the county. So I kind of talked to her one day at lunch. Didn't really feel like I was supposed to do anything with her, but just said, you know, if you need volunteers, I'm good. But I also felt led to ask her if they needed any prayer for anything. She said, well, there's these things going on, and then at the end she said, I don't know what to do or how to pray for this, but I've been doing these podcasts this year on things in the community that are in the dark, that need more awareness, need light brought into the situation because they're becoming more prevalent and more of a problem. The first one she did was on opioid drug use, the second one was on suicide, and she said, ever since I did the one on suicide, I've been having people from the community call and ask if there's any support or resources, and there's nothing. And guess what happened to me? I got the same feeling that I got 2 years ago about jail ministry, that Annie, there's a need in your community and I want you to do something about it. So that's how I got involved in the world of suicide prevention, which then led me to meet Lisa at a NAMI family support group leader training in Atlanta. Found out that she worked at Ridgeview right there in my hometown, so we have partnered up and love now going out and doing talks, doing classes. I co-lead a family support group at Ridgeview on Wednesday nights that's free, that's for family members. So if you know anyone that has a family member of someone with a mental illness that they're supporting, or addiction, or someone that's in jail and the family member's just struggling, it's a great free resource, so we can give y'all information about that. But I've also become certified to teach QPR. So QPR, you can get one of these before you leave, but it stands for question, persuade, and refer. So it kind of teaches you, one, to look for the risk signs, the red flags that someone might be in crisis, someone might be contemplating hurting themselves. And then two, can you ask the question, you seem to be struggling, are you thinking about suicide? Then can you refer them to get help? Can you persuade them to get help? Can you say, let me make the call to the crisis line with you right now? Let me take you to the ER and let a doctor and a professional evaluate you and help you right now, instead of just letting them go to deal with it on their own. And then refer is, do you know how to refer people? What crisis line to call? What hospitals to take them to? You can take them to any hospital. You can even have a crisis unit come out and check them out at home. You can even have the policeman come out and check them out to do a well check at home if you're concerned about someone. So those courses are about 2 hours. And you get a little booklet with the course that has a card in the back that you can rip out and keep in your wallet or purse, so that you always have the crisis line number on you, because you never know when you're going to encounter someone just out in the community or at your job or within the jail or wherever you are doing whatever you're doing that might be in their crisis moment and needs someone right then to recognize that and reach out for help with them. So outside of Ridgeview, Lisa and her husband have started a nonprofit that I'm also involved in. Y'all remember last month's meeting I talked to you about the polar plunge for a second? Yeah. We should have sent you a picture or the video, but we did the polar plunge on Leap Day on Saturday. There was about 11 or 12 of us that actually took the plunge into the cold waters.
Everybody else was scared.
Do you remember how windy it was on Saturday? It was luckily sunny, but very windy. But we took the plunge and we raised over $4,000 for that nonprofit. So it was a very successful first time fundraising event. But we also have some papers that you can get on your way out as well about what that's about. Because even though Lisa works at Ridgeview, she kind of has to do that for her job. This gives us an opportunity to do what we want to do and what we're passionate about, which is spreading mental health awareness and suicide prevention anywhere and everywhere. So we'll have these back there. We also, just because anyone in this room, I just want a show of hands, does anyone in this room have stress in their life? Anyone? Anyone? If you're not recognizing your hand, raising your hand, you're now a liar as well. So we all have stress. Well, guess that means that we all are at risk for a mental illness. We're all at risk for a mental health crisis. We're all at risk for suicide. Because like she said a minute ago, those things come from, not only could they be something generational or in your genes or chemical imbalance, but a lot of it is that you don't have the coping mechanisms you need to deal with the amount of stress going on in your life. And you come to your breaking point and you come to a crisis. So we also have some handouts that talk about stress and practical ways to have better coping skills. Because I don't know about you, but my parents didn't sit me down when I was younger at the dinner table and say, tonight kids, we're going to teach you better coping skills. Anyone's parents do that? No, we either learned them or didn't learn them in a good or bad way. So we just want to get out there. We're passionate about helping people stay more mentally healthy, be more aware of their mental health, and obviously, yes, prevent suicide because it's becoming more of an epidemic.
And I just wanted to share with you guys as well, these resources and these trainings, the 2-hour training for the QPR, they are free. So again, if this is something that you feel would benefit your community, your place of work, wherever, just reach out to Annie, let her know. We can get that started. And again, I know that Shane Donaldson had stood up. He is our new partner in crime with Ridgeview here, and he can go out and do mobile assessments as well. So if there is anybody that you feel like is in crisis in your community, in your place of work, we can't go into somebody's private home to do the assessment, but he will be able to, meet at a library, at a police station, you know, anywhere, at McDonald's, Starbucks. We've actually done that. So he can definitely do that. And Ridgeview, they are open 24/7. If you look at the front of the hospital, all the way to the left is a doorbell. So if at 2 o'clock in the morning you have somebody that's in crisis that's needing help, they can go over there, push the doorbell, and there's free assessments 24/7. Thank you.